and sisters, just let me speak a little bit about the way forward, because we need to address it. People speak about the convention, and it is important for us to understand what the tasks are and how we have to go forward. Now, on July 8th will be our next convention, and that could be a very decisive and telling time for the history we haven't yet decided with of the party. What you notice at the last convention was a grab basically for this division that you see now. And my colleagues can tell you that leading up to the convention, I said to them that we need to perhaps go on the convention floor and to say to people what the exact nature of the situation was. Because at the last convention, it wasn't a question of Kenneth Fullerton and Glen for the chairperson of the party. The last convention was a fight and a struggle because Peter David had a team on a side. Peter David, Joe Gilbert, Glennis Roberts, Sylvester Collis, all of them were part of one team that was trying to ensure that at the end of the day, they got a team of persons to control the executive. And once they control the executive now, they believe they could control the political leader and take control of the party. What they did, they controlled all of the chairpersons and the majority of the chairpersons of the constituency branch. So for example, the political leader called Elfridge Philip, who is the chairperson for St. Patrick's West, and said to him, I want to come to meet with the branch to speak to them on the Joe Gilbert issue. Elfridge Philip told the political leader, that is the leader of the party, the chairman of our branch, tell the leader of the party, we have to go and discuss that with the executive first. Hold on. He called, when the political leader called him back, he said the executive discussed it and the branch discussed it. But the branch agreed that you must call Mr. Gilbert first to organize the meeting. The political leader said to him, the chairman of the constituency branch is the one that is in charge of the political work in the constituency. And the MP is a member of the branch and is even accountable to the branch. So you are the ones that are supposed to organize the meeting. I do not have to call Mr. Gilbert to organize a meeting of the branch. I say all of that to tell you about the battle that has been going on to seize power to behave in a particular way. So, what they did the last election, by controlling the constituency branches, they control the delegates. The first thing that happened is that very few polling divisions in this party is organized, and very few constituency branches even meeting on a monthly basis. There are some constituency branches that have not held a meeting for a year, and in some cases 2 years, some 3 years. One example was, for example, St. Andrews Northwest. They went on without a meeting for about 2 years of the branch. So when that happened, the executive sit and they have picked some people in each of the area and they bring them as delegates. And when they bring them, they tell them who to vote for, and in that way they organize how the voting is done. So sisters and brothers, if we don't organize and get the polling division groups, in other words, the Constitution speaks about 2 persons at the convention from every polling division group. So if you organize the polling division groups in your own area, then you could decide who the delegates are. Otherwise, what will happen is that the same team of persons would seek to organize and get people to come to the convention. And all of you here, and many of you here, would not have an opportunity. So at the moment now, they're probably laughing and saying, okay, all of them could gather and come, but we know when convention time comes, who we picking. So we have to pay close attention when there are elections at the constituency branch level and make sure we vote the right people at the leadership of the constituency branches. And we have to go out in our respective villages and form the polling division groups and make sure we pick the delegates. And you must be prepared. You must be prepared to come on the convention floor. You must be prepared, all of you, to come and to ensure that you participate. And if they deny you, for example, in St. Patrick's West, You have a polling division, Captain Leke, whose name was not on the list and is financial. And that is an infringement. You cannot dissent. Leke, for example, could file an injunction as to the constituency branch, and he could say, look, as a financial member in good standing, I was denied the opportunity to participate in a process, basically. So you see, we have to learn to understand what our constitution says and to stand up and to fight for what is right. There are some things, just before I leave, that I want to mention. I've not mentioned this thing publicly in a meeting before because I was basically trying to manage the level of conflict. Sometimes you don't want to say too many things because you don't want to create a wider rift in the party. But the time is coming when you have to speak the truth, right? Only recently in a discussion, and I could afford to say it because he admitted it that was so. When we speak about this conspiracy and we speak about people that saying that they do not want to go into the next election with Tillman Thomas as a political leader, this is not a lie. Mr. Jerome Joseph, who is a former interim leader of the NDC, a long-standing member, a senior member, a well-respected member, basically said to me that he raised the idea with Joe Gilbert and Peter David and others that they should organize a special convention, a special meeting to get the delegates to change the constitution, because the constitution speaks about the political leader cannot be challenged while he's in office. In order to remove him as political leader, they were planning a convention where they can change that. Peter David said to Jerome, I don't think I will support it because I do not want to go openly on the floor and to challenge the political leader for the leader of the party. Right? Just a second. He said, let's find a softer landing that will spill too much blood. Blood not meaning literally shooting somebody, but it means that I don't want the confusion of fighting him on the floor. So he said, let's have a softer landing. The plan was that following the poll that they did, right, they were going to ask a few people very close to the political leader who they believe have some influence and gather them together and to go to the political leader and say, look, in the interest of country, we believe you must step aside. So I'm saying to you, in the conspiracy to remove the political leader they have, one plan was the convention. Then Peter kicked against the convention to remove him on the floor. He said, let's find an easier way. Let these people put some pressure on him. But if the plot was foiled and many people did not participate in it, okay? Then they begin to speak about the possibility of those MPs, basically. In other words, they say, look, if a few of us as MP and we could get a few on the side of the opposition, we could go to the Governor General and say to the Governor General, we have the majority of persons and so the government would fall. So I'm saying to you that indeed there was a serious attempt. And when you ask, I have asked them, what is the reason for all of that? What they're saying is that they don't have the confidence that Tillman Thomas can lead them and lead them properly into a next election. So sisters and brothers, we have a challenge. We have a challenge to preserve the role of the political leader. And all of us will be called upon to do what we have to do in our respective constituency when the convention comes to make sure that happens. So we'll keep you informed as things goes along. I've not spoken about that in the public because sometimes I try to avoid washing linen in public. Because at the end of the day, when people hear you, they say it's only NDC that fighting each other at the level of the public. But you have seen the level of disrespect. From this said very constituency, there is one comrade. He went in the stadium, pointing the political leader, that is Glen, in the political leader face several times and said, Tillman Thomas, you are the problem in the party with not going into the convention, into the election with you. He came to Caribou and the convention flew again and behaved very badly. And you ask yourself, 1 second, constituency has done. What it is the constituency has done to discipline him and to say that is not the right behavior. Right? The other question I want to ask the people of St. Patrick's West. Following the fact that the political leader dismissed your MP and representative, did you have any concern? He's trying to have a meeting with you. Have you requested a meeting to find out from him too? In other words, because your representative come to you and give you his version and his reason, right? The political leader trying to meet with your chairman to organize a meeting, he is refusing to meet. If you're concerned about your constituency and leadership, have you asked him why not invite the political leader to come so he could get his version of the story? Basically, to know exactly what has happened. What are the values? What is it you stand for? Is it that you want to have a representative that can do whatever he or so wishes? So let me pose this question. If you employ me to do a work for you, and I have some workmen, and one of the workmen that I brought to work with me steals something from you, can I bring him back in your workplace without an apology? Would you trust him? So these are the questions that we need to ask. Thank you.